thanks for doing this. I'm looking forward to chatting with you about this stuff. It's cool. Taking a deep dive into your worlds and your music and catalog, and it's super cool. So, first question I have um, is basically so. Congrats on. I saw that you already kind of sold out of your limited marble vinyl for the new record, and you're about to drop Azure on June 5th, and it's your fifth LP since 2012. So I was just curious, kind of what you're most excited about to offer the world with the new record.
Oh yeah. It's kind of rare to find just like music that is just trying to sustain itself in this plateau of beauty. It's just very rare to find like music that, um, the whole time you're kind of just encapsulated in this harmonious realm. And harmonious, I guess, is I'm learning now more and more that it is subjective, but a big impetus of mine for a long time has been to kind of discover some kind of objective universal harmony, which my entire friend group and most people I'm close with, we definitely agree on that universal harmony. So, but that's still, an isolated system. And, we all react. I'm part of a group called Non Plus Ultra, where we've been active since 2014. And we all influence each other and bounce ideas off of each other and want to impress each other and one-up each other and make fun of each other and through music. And when that happens for long enough, and it's been over 6 years now, it just starts to bake, it starts to simmer, and it starts to make its own recipe of something. If you keep at it, if you're in it for the long haul. But yeah, my intentions are always the same, and they're automatic, and they're alinear, I'd say. So it's hard to say that I definitely have intentions, but for the album of what I want it to do, but it just has to do what it does, it has to just it just has to be subjectively interpreted and impressed upon, and then hopefully the effects are ultimately positive, because that's the main intention. Sometimes it takes a lot of melancholy and a lot of darkness to make that much light, so because it can't just be light, it can't just be Vampire Weekend, and it also can't just be sun or sleep. You want it to be you need the black and white checkerboard floor to have the altar,
Yeah, you have to have dynamic.
Yeah. And even beyond that, the trinary and the the unified and everything, I'm not saying that I achieve these things. It's just on my mind, and it's just what I want to hear in the world. I really want to hear really fast, soft music. Or I want to hear really fucking heavy but slow music, or something whispered but it's distorted so much that it sounds like it's screamed, like complete unifying opposites as much as possible, to the point of it honestly gets a little overwhelming, because music's supposed to be entertaining, it's supposed to be pleasant, it's supposed to be a good component to your work or your real life or whatever you do. And sometimes the stuff I do is a little too intense, like even if it's chill, it's sometimes it's not backgroundy enough or supportive enough to be to support a lot of other types of work. It's kind of, the purpose of it is to be listened to. The only purpose is to be intently listened to. You're supposed to put it on and listen to it, and you can do anything to it, but it's, a lot of music isn't made to be listened to. It's made to look at this crazy costume, or it's or it's made to do or be relevant of a time that we're going through. or
Yeah.
but it's not music, or it's not about the sound, really. You know, it hasn't been about the sound since the 60s, probably, because if you don't have a fucking sci-fi outfit on, you can't even get through the door, you know? So, like, but this is about sound. And even though I make videos, you know, the music is to be listened to. So that's the purpose of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in regards to that, in your press kit, you mentioned allow this album to act as a mobile architecture and to be a beautiful space you can exist within to worship your own talents. You continue on the possibility of harmony that are already at the blueprint of the manifest world. Very poetic, but you know, also wondering if you could kind of deconstruct those kind of set intentions a bit, and then also I know you mentioned harmony again just earlier here, but in previous interviews, I've heard you kind of reserve a deeper meaning of the concept of harmony. So could you also kind of expand on that?
Definitely. There are just some formulas that give me frisson, which is goosebumps made by music. And that's kind of goes back to what I was talking about before, where there is some kind of universal frisson that happens to a lot of people the same. And you hear it in a lot of Tame Impala or Radiohead. Really, Radiohead. It's some of the most universal frisson in the world, Radiohead. And I would say Sigur Rós and Coldplay too, that you dive into a universal and unified field of frisson with some of these bands. And you can't deny it. With whatever the 40-year-old virgin tries to shove down your throat, like, this is real, you know, this frisson cannot be denied. So basically I'm just trying to use these formulas that help the particles in our body feel better, which I know to be true for myself, because there have been multiple times in my life where I feel spinally filled up with light because of music, or, you know, I get a tingle up my spine, kind of, you know, it goes all the way through up my head. Yassos calls it the spiral ascension. It's pretty cool. But I'm also overly sensitive to music, but you know, I just take those formulas, which I call in that poetry the blueprint of the manifest world, which a lot of the time are like these major seventh chords and also a ninth. And if you look at what a major seventh chord actually is, it's a note, and then the note higher than that note, octave above, but one note below. So you would think if you play those two notes next to each other, it's dissonant. It's like it creates an undulation of dissonance. But if you put the low one and then the higher one is one note lower than the actual note, but it's an octave higher, it creates this unbelievable harmony. And it's a paradoxical harmony, because it shouldn't be harmonious, because it's an undulating, dissonant thing if you rationally think about it. But irrationally, it's universally harmonious. So I use that all the time. And you just use those in different arrangements, and it can't be a major seven all the time. It's got to be minor, because if it strobes between the negative and the positive, you start to accumulate a spell of, for me at least, of frisson. So that's really what it's about. It's supposed to kind of, you know, if you've ever been inside of like an ancient temple, you know, any kind of, or even a modern temple that's built very elaborately. Like, let's say the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, built by Gaudi. You familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. So anybody that's not familiar, Google that right now. And when you go in, the feeling that you get when you go inside that, I mean, you're forced into oblivion when you, you know, emotionally, you're forced into oblivion. And it's really good for you to feel that. It opens up your mind. It opens up you're like, wow, I could do this. I could just carve into, you know, sandstone and limestone and for 30 years, and I could do that. It's inspiring, you know?
Totally.
So it's really just to make more of that. It's to perpetuate more of itself, and really in of itself, it's pretty meaningless. You know, I'm nothing. But what it's supposed to do is accelerate the motion of more of itself, of more of that harmony. So, because people are still stuck in System of a Down, you know? Like, come on. I know it's funny, it has a purpose, it's up here, but this is the time for here, you know, to feel the deep things, you know? So, yeah.
Are you exploring any type of specific themes or ideas or consciousness with Azure, or is
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the songs are about the proportions of the moon and sun,
Okay.
and about like the holographic nature of particles and the quantum world, and about how to wormhole into the cosmos, not by going out into the cosmos, but by going into the earth and going into yourself. Instead of going exterior, you go interior, and you can access the whole universe. So it talks a lot about that. Um, there's a song called Sunny Moon that says, beyond all of our misdirections, the sun and moon just fit right in. And it's kind of just about the illusory drama that humans are forced to go through because of the gravity well we're in on Earth. But yet, in the blueprint of where we are, it's perfect. Because, well, it's almost perfect, but the moon is a nearly perfect circular orbit. It's non-elliptical, which doesn't occur in the universe as we can see anywhere ever so far. And it also rotates perfectly around our equator, but it's 5 degrees off. But if it was perfectly around our equator, we'd have 2 solar eclipses a month, because the moon and sun fit perfectly inside of each other, because the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, and the sun is 400 times further away than the moon, creating a perfect eclipse. And that kind of harmony just doesn't exist in entropic in the entropic universe. We know that the universe self-organizes, but to this extent, the chances are 1 in a quadrillion or several quadrillion. So the universe self-organizes, or something in the universe is self-organizes, and that's a very hopeful fact. Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to give you ambition to really reach for your goals and reach for what you want to do, because there is not just entropy and nothingness. Nothingness is filled with shit. It's filled with structure, and probably alien sofas and like fountains of magic too. Mm-hmm. But it's just interdimensionally phased out from our perception, so we think it's nothing. But it has a structure. But I think the structure of nothing is very similar to harmonious music, because Buckminster Fuller came up with the theoretical structure of space-time, which is the vacuum, which is what we call nothing, it's called the isotropic vector metric, which is a 64 tetrahedron grid, a star tetrahedron of 64 tetrahedrons built into each other and smushed into each other perfectly symmetrically. And it's the only theoretical object that's in perfect equilibrium on all vertices, in all angles, and in all possibilities. So that's why he thinks it's the theoretical structure of space-time, because it only exists in a black hole, because it phases itself out of existence because it's so balanced. And that's perfect harmony. But I kind of picture that realm as like an actual space to inhabit that other entities exist in, that seem to can navigate that nothingness like fucking expert samurai nothingness navigators, but these are all the themes present. These are the things that I think about, and I imbue it directly into the lyrics, into the songs. And hopefully it communicates the impression of that. And it's a niche of thought, but hopefully it becomes more thought about. I don't know. I mean, as however much value it has is up to everybody, and I'm not trying to make a product. I'm just trying to express myself. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool expression, and I think a lot of people identify with that as well. And I think it's a very like niche kind of headspace and kind of theoretical kind of expression. I think it's you do it well, and so that kind of leads me to your 2 singles from the new album, LA Egypt and Soft Soul. first two singles, and they very much feature your sunshine pop and kind of psycho kaleidoscope, I guess what I'm calling like vinyl Williamscape world. So just curious, like how you went about creating those two singles, just like maybe from a songwriter perspective, but then also maybe how you incorporated some of those theoretical elements into it, and then also just generally how you kind of crafted your sonic dreamland of Azure.
Yeah, LA Egypt was the first song that I recorded for the album, which was right after I made the songs for Opal in 2017, the last album. It was right after. And I figured something out with that song, and I was like, fuck, I wish I didn't just release Opal, because this song is fucking better, you know? But that's just because I'm an artist, and like everything I do is better than the last. But I reached an organic place with that song of really just natural, organic, white noise, kind of tactile tones, which I've never fully discovered before. But yeah, you know, I recorded that at Non Plus Ultra. Everything ran through this huge 70s board that has this spring reverb in it that sounds like heaven. So everything's just running through that multiple times. Even the whole mix is running through it. Being mastered to reel. And, you know, that song, I really put all the love and effort into the tapiness and the decadence of it. If you really listen to it on good speakers, I feel like it's a good experience of kind of like a rainforest of pop. But, you know, it's still work in progress. But yeah, and then, you know, those lyrics are about humanity's issues, you know, and how we abuse the planet. And it says, our position is abolition of Earth, prevent what is yet to happen ahead. You know, it's just kind of giving warnings of, the album kind of starts out, it's weird because I wrote the lyrics in 2017, but it says the first lyrics of the album say, sit around waiting for life to start again.
Oh, wow.
This is weird.
That's very weird, yeah.
Well, because, you know, it's the same as I'm just a hermit, you know. I was just talking about my life, which is I sit and I work and I think, or I work on music videos for other people. LA is so gorgeous and beautiful, kind of. It's really dirty too, but just kind of, you know, stay inside and get work done. It's kind of what I do most of the time. So that's what was on my mind, but it's just funny that became the state that we're in. Yeah. But, you know, that's more of like those lyrics are just, it's stream of consciousness, so who knows? It ended up being about kind of like a doomsday scenario, but having a positivist view and just, you know, having a couple plants, having our own weed plants, having our own zucchini and squash or whatever we need, you know, so it's kind of about sustainability, and, you know, lyrics kind of touch upon that. But yeah. And then Soft Soul, the one that just came out. I was just recording acoustic on this little cassette machine. I wonder if I have it here. I don't. But I was just recording this acoustic on this little cassette machine I have, this Panasonic cassette machine from the 70s. It sounds so perfect. And that song just came out of that because I was just recording the simplest thing, and it just sounded like I didn't even have to try, you know? And then it just created the whole song out of that. But yeah, you know, and that song's all about, you know, perception, and, you know, what you see is kind of like your mind, and every angle that you see, all the additive light is really just there for your angle, you know? Like, it's about how like a rainbow is 42 degrees from your shadow. That's why it always moves whenever you move, you know? All additive light is just your perspective of where you are. So that's kind of what the song's about. So it says, evening light only shines when you're there. And even my thoughts are curved by the air. The truth is all right there. So it's kind of about like, you know, our sphere is a globe, and our oculus is a globe. And everything we see is just kind of crafted by that, you know? And it's not the noumena, which is the things in of itself. everything we see is phenomenon. It's complete surface level phenomenon. And that's why we see so much phenomenon, such as lights in the sky, is that, you know, we're just seeing a trace of what's actually there. We're just seeing a phenomenon rather than the actual shape in of itself. Otherwise, it would make more sense of what the motion actually is doing. Yeah, so that's kind of what the song's about. And then it gets a little bit more esoteric. I don't even know what this means, man, but it says, candlelight of a chandelier, what's behind every broken mirror? The truth is all right there. So, and whenever I picture UFOs, I picture chandeliers, like inside of a mosque. I've been to all these mosques that have the most mind-blowing chandeliers hanging from the center of the building, that if you were to stand underneath them and look into the center of them, I mean, that's just a spiritual experience right there. Right. You know, and like, it seems like humans just make a copy of all the cosmos without even intending to. And sometimes we do intend to, but it just, whenever we do that, we open up some kind of awareness of that thing that was unknown before, that humans become interested in. You know, never before did we really think about Alpha Centauri, you know, but now we know it's the closest solar system to us, and it has a habitable exoplanet that's in the Goldilocks zone. It's just like Earth. So that's the closest planet to us. It's an exoplanet that is like Earth, besides Pluto. You know, it's crazy. So because of spreading awareness about these places, you know, we start to investigate and kind of collectively learn more about it, because it seems like the people that are really investigating it aren't conceptualizing it in a way that philosophically makes sense. They're just doing the nitty gritty, you know. So all the fields need to work together. The artists with the scientists with the astronomers, everybody, you know, everybody needs, the geologists. When everybody starts to work together and cross-coordinate what they're doing, you start to understand that, you know, we weren't even conceptualizing the question that we're asking correctly until we start putting together all those pieces, and we find that, you know, just the growth of organisms is beyond synchronicity. The structure of that is mind-blowing, you know. It's mind-blowing structure, and I love to discuss this idea of the harmony and the chaos with people all the time, because I just feel like there's so much evidence of harmony, and that just is my role, to give all of the evidence, because everybody else is occulting it for no fucking reason, for their own ego, you know. You might as well tell all secrets. So that is kind of what I'm trying to do.
Cool. Kind of along those lines. So as a creator of escapist digital worlds, if you will, what does escapism mean to you in this kind of brave new digital world? And also, I don't know if you would identify some of the visual type stuff that you do as more escapist, the genre of escapism, but yeah, basically in our worlds, mean to kind of reverse this, like, more like we're kind of more forced into this digital, like, reality right now.
Yeah, and you know, if I'm a part of that in any way, which has just become my form of self-sustainability, which is making these virtual worlds, is what I can do that I feel comfortable working in, that feels like a good field of work. For some reason, we're forced into those right now. And if I'm any part of that, I just want that to be the most comfortable, aesthetic, beautiful, you know, experience possible to lift you up and spread light, you know, just pure light. And just the point of escapism is for therapy, you know. And the only kind of application virtual reality has had that has been beneficial is for therapy, because let's say you were to break your arm and you're in a cast and you put on a VR headset which I don't even like VR, but I think this is the only application of VR that is beneficial. Where if you break a limb and you put on a VR headset and you play a game that activates that limb in a game sense with motion tracking, your brain forgets that you broke that limb and you heal 10 times faster because you're experiencing the avatar of yourself moving correctly, and you want to continue exercising that because once the minimum 3 senses are engaged, which is usually visual, audio, and touch, then your brain automatically thinks it's real.
Right. That visualization helps psychologically.
You forget, your pain goes away. And not only that, but your cells think that your arm is not broken because they're all talking to each other and you're talking to it. And then you can heal ridiculously faster. And since I do make virtual reality experiences such as 360 videos, but I haven't made any physical therapy applications, although I've been attempting to work with a company in Long Beach for a long time to develop stuff for them, but it hasn't happened yet. But I'm my role is a little bit more specific, and it's more of the ethereal. It's supposed to be the same kind of thing as therapy, but purely psychological, purely visual, and purely sonic, just purely sensational, I guess.
Right.
And it's supposed to be. It really is. I really do want to accept the burden of therapy, of the actual reality that it is supposed to be a positive form of therapy. And a lot of people come to me and ask for some kind of therapy as well, and I always talk, and I love it. I would love to be just a freelance musical therapist. That's like my job, it's awesome.
I've also fantasized about that as someone who's done music for a while as well, and originally wanted to be a therapist, but we'll see. Maybe the future holds something like that. But so along those lines, I want to kind of dive kind of more into a lot of your collaborations and your just like relationship with collaboration, but then also kind of how you've cultivated your relationship with art and technology. And then also I know your music videos are also heavily steeped in collaboration. And so like what's that process for you like? What is collaboration like, in 2020, and just any as people you want to collaborate with in the future. I know you've collaborated with like Totally Ma and I know Immortal Orchestra, Tears for Fears, which is like amazing. And so kind of what's, I guess, how did you cultivate that, and where do you feel like you're going with those types of classes?
Yeah, the whole spark of it was through crazy active willpower, just insane shooting in the dark, and I think it really helps to do that. I think even a better example of what I did is what my friends did in their quest. My friends Spooky and Ashley in Hot MT, it's HOTTMT, they're a band from LA. A few years ago, they're really obsessed with the Flaming Lips, and they just found Wayne Coyne's house on Google Maps somehow, because he's outside in his bathtub on the Google Street View. They found it. So they went to his house on his birthday, and he opened the door, and he let them in, and they recorded 2 songs with Wayne Coyne, and they released a 7-inch with the Flaming Lips and Hot MT, and they've went on tour with them multiple times too, in multiple different bands. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of active willpower to start things, and all it is just reaching out to the people you love. There's all these musicians you love. Reach out to them and just be earnest, and don't say the word "I" too much. Just talk about them, and then it'll enough about you. Tell me about me. But
organic,
you just
and reciprocal.
Yeah, you just if you have a vision of the music you love, you might as well combine it all together, collage it all together, You know, everybody has the pantheon of their favorite music, like ever. Like I'd love to collaborate with I'm blanking on his name right now, I can't believe this. John Hassel. John Hassel is like an avant-garde horn player, trumpet and cornet player, who is known for putting a 5th pitch shifter on his trumpet and creating this alien throne room Egypt sound from heaven kind of thing. He did an album with Brian Eno called Possible Musics.
Oh, cool.
Fourth World Volume 4 or something. That album is transcendental. You're in like the chamber of Ma'at, like the Egyptian afterlife, like temple. It's incredible. So I'd love for his newest album, John Hassel's newest album, Listening to Pictures, that came out in like 2018. It's the most cutting edge shit I've ever heard in my life. That shit is beyond.
Check it out.
I'm just like, when I hear that, you know, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man, you're fucking crazy. So I'd love to collaborate with him, but you know.
And then like more about like how would you describe just like I guess your relationship with technology, like what softwares you use, or just like really just kind of like what is that, like how is your process for creating the digital media and artwork that you do?
Well, most of the work that I do is I make these crazy interactive music videos for bands, and I also made an interactive website for myself for the whole album, which I'm starting to do for bands as well, making them interactive websites and landing pages for their albums.
I checked out the Ultra website.
Like that started with the UMO one, was the first downloadable Unity world that I released that wasn't my own. I released the downloadable Unity world in 2012, and that didn't go anywhere because I don't know how to market. I don't really have that gene in me, you know. So, but he has a whole team behind him. I designed a downloadable music video for him, and the collaboration occurred. You know, he sent me the WAV file of the song, and he's like, you know, give me a treatment, and then I just kind of stream of consciously wrote out the most insane thing I could possibly imagine without thinking about it, and then he's like, perfect, and then I just kind of barely abided by that structure and just completely stream of consciously created this music video world to walk through, just over the course of just a few days, and it's probably the most elaborate piece I've ever made, still to this day. There's one I made for Shmoo, who is now my drummer in my band, and that's a full album music video game. So you can go from song to song. Every single song's a different world. So that's probably the most elaborate, and that's on shmoo6.com/game.
There you go.
And that's some crazy shit. You know, Shmoo is just like me, where he makes a bunch of beautiful, harmonious, aesthetic music, and nobody, you know, it's just so rare that mood is, you know, capitalizable or something. You know, it's like, it's just so pure that it just needs to exist humbly, you know? And so we'll make a bunch of art together. He'll send me the songs, I'll make the world, I'll send him screenshots, and he'll be like, I love it. Or I'll send him the game, and he'll be like, I love it, but I can't figure out level 3. I can't get past it. And I'm like, all right, I'll make it easier. So I'll fuck with shit. And then, you know, that's kind of, I just made a video game for this band Gazuda, and it's a space RPG where you have to escape an asteroid colony. You get into a spaceship made of flowers, and you can fly it to a space station, if you can find it, and then you can land and then like be presented with like a real estate, like space real estate and shit. It's like a full-on game that I made for them, and I'm kind of acting like it's just simple, like it's not a big deal, but it's actually pretty crazy. And I just finished it for them. And that's going to be out soon, so that's definitely the newest thing that's coming out. But yeah, the collaboration, you know, it's simple. You know, I kind of just work stream of consciously. You know, I just kind of go. So if the band sends me their material, they'll send me any mood boards they want, any videos, photos they want in it. Even they'll send me the green screen footage of them singing, lip syncing their song, and crying, which happened on the last video I did. And then I'll throw that into the 360 video, and it's easy, you know? Just throw it in there and it works, it lines up. Nice. And collaboration most of the time is just I'll make the whole world, and then I'll be like, hey, John Dwyer from the OCs, do you like this video? And he's like, yeah, what am I gonna move the Sphinx 2 inches to the left? What the fuck do you want me to do? And I'm like, all right, is it done? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, sick. So, you know, it's collaboration is fun. You just explode on the vision, and you know, I guess I kind of have a weird process because I'm so I just do it all, you know, myself, and I just kind of have to focus in this little bubble. But it's so flexible too, because, you know, the artists can be in their own videos. And the last video I did for Mitya 360 video, he's from Russia, and he just, you know, so easy to collaborate. He just sent me all the videos and made it in less than a month, you know. It was a really fun project. Cool. So anybody that wants to get into this field of work, you know, it's infinite. It's always needed, and it's never going to end. The work is never going to end, and you just get better at it every time. And it's just a sandbox of your own mind, you know. The only downside is that it is kind of intangible, you know, but you can make that intangible as tactile as you want. And that's kind of like my goal, to make it like, if you could touch this screen, you know, if it had like a texture, and a fragrance too. But yeah, that's kind of the process. I probably didn't really go over it very well, but you know.
I mean, I'd say that was pretty well said.
Great.
Answered my question for sure.
Cool.
So I have this meeting go till 1. Hopefully it doesn't kick us off, because I don't know what your time is like, but I do have you know.
Yeah, let's do like 8 more minutes or something.
Several more questions. Okay, so let's see here. So like a lot of kind of psych musicians or rockers, like a lot of what you're known for is like your immersive live shows and kind of interactive visuals. And so kind of wondering what your thoughts are about like navigating the experience of both, I guess, playing live music and receiving and like experiencing live music from the participant or audience perspective as well. I guess like now during kind of the social distancing era, and then also if you've seen any kind of like creative problem solving that you've seen other artists do kind of in this time, like has that inspired you, or like, I guess, introduce new ideas of doing things right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now is all about streams, you know. And if you're not doing streams, then, you know, if you're going to do something interactive, then, you know, your best bet is to probably make a website, or even an app is very inaccessible, you know, but you just can't find all the crazy apps out there. But making like a what is it called? An augmented reality facial thing, kind of like on Instagram and stuff. That's super easy to make now. So people are definitely making those with Spark AR Studio. Any artist can make their own augmented reality experience at this point. You don't have to know any, you just have to know stuff like Photoshop or something as basic as that, you know? So there's all these tools coming out that are making interactivity really easy. And now streams are the thing, because you can't go to shows really. So, you know, I've been streaming like crazy, once a week or 2 or 3 times a week with Non Plus Ultra. And we have multiple artists every single day that are either streamed from their center or pre-recorded, or it's part of our friend group that we still are connected and are around each other. But anybody in our friend group that can perform, such as me, I've done a live stream on Twitch, and that is so fun, man. I mean, that's what interactivity is now, you know, you're responding and reacting with each other during a stream. And it's a really fun way to express yourself. The tech of it is crazy. You know, I really just want to let everybody know that you need about 3 to 4 computers to really do it right. You need to have them all running at the same time. And if you really want to know how I do it, because I love to tell all secrets, is I just run 2 VHS camcorders into a Panasonic MX50 digital analog video mixer. You know, those old ones with the, you know, with the actual knobs and stuff. And then that runs into an analog to digital converter, and then it gets digitized to OBS, which is my streaming software. And the audio is its separate computer, all perfectly mixed through Logic, like as if it's a finished album. And then that audio goes out to this computer that OBS is at, which is the second computer. And then that gets split off from a third computer that streams the Twitch stream to Instagram. So we need that third computer to do that. And you actually need a fourth if you want to send the audio synced up perfectly from Twitch to Instagram. Wow. So you need 4 computers to do it all. It's fucking insane. But if you want to know more about that, let me know, because I do it for people. I've been doing it in Non-Plus for a while, and I've done it for a couple people during this quarantine. You know, I'm trying not to see anybody besides just my close friend group, but I've done it for a couple people, and I can walk you through it too. Cool. You just need OBS, Yellow Duck, and 3 to 4 computers.
Yeah, I mean that's almost 4 computers is a lot. I think
a lot. You need to have friends, you know. You need to have people around you so you can share your resources.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
One question I definitely want to get to before you go is, so you previously described your music as celestial pop. Your approach to is kind of like more psychedelia, and using your active imagination, as you've called it. How has 2020 and world events kind of influenced your active imagination and or like consciousness? Or do you feel kind of
I noticed a change. I mean,
or whatever.
You know, like, this is a time where we all have these true impulses of feelings and thoughts and emotions and stuff, but it's all about how our behavior is after that matters, you know, how we act on those impulses. And yeah, that's kind of what the world is telling me personally right now, to just behave a little bit, just less impulsively. Everybody's impulsive to a degree, but you know, I feel like you're a pretty calm dude, actually. You probably have good control over that. Yeah, I should interview you about that. But
I'm calm, but I feel a lot of things as well. I mean, I think
those are all true, you know. But it's just how you behave from there that's important, you know. So
it is, yeah. I think it reminds me, what you're saying right now kind of reminds me of this. Well, I don't know who it's attributed to, but you know, life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you react to it.
Absolutely, yeah. And the mental nature of reality is just undeniable. You know, if you decide to have a good day, just pretend like let's say you pretend to be like Jim Carrey one day, where you just don't give a fuck. Or just like Jim Carrey in the 90s.
Jim Carrey.
Say alrighty then all day. You don't even care what people say to you.
Yeah.
You just have a great day. You know, just fall for yourself. I promise you. You know, like the mental nature of things is very, very apparent, especially now. You know, with your life being more isolated, it becomes more apparent because all of those things are manifesting in front of you a lot clearer, I feel like.
Oh yeah, and we're constructing new perceptions of ourselves and who we can be. You know, I think, I don't know, just.
You're right. It's like we're reforming ourselves, you know.
A little bit, yeah, and you know, we have this wrench that has been thrown into our collective consciousness and what is reality. And I was actually going to start this off with kind of a joke about like, is this even real? Are we real? Like, is this some like episode of Westworld? I don't know if you've been watching Westworld at all, but like, like stuck on our loops or like this weird like.
I mean, it's real to us as we intersect right now, but I feel like you do have your own autonomous timeline that may or may not include me, but at the moment, we are intersecting, and it's real. I think, I think that question is too binary to really apply to anything. It's really hard because of the wave collapse thing in quantum physics, where it's a wave unobserved and it's a particle being observed. It's potential if it's not observed. But the thing is that it's not just us observing it. There's other entities. There's microbiology observing. There's trees observing. We're very self-centric about it. And these shared experiences are absolutely real. I just think that I have at least one other autonomous timeline maybe that is a little bit different. That might just be the one that is kind of like more the right track,
right.
The best track. But that never goes to say that that's always inaccessible, because you can always, because parallel lines meet in infinity. Like if you stretch parallel lines in opposite directions in the universe, eventually they'll meet, because nothing really leaves the universe. Gravity kind of brings it back always, so no matter how off track you think you've gotten in your life, the version of yourself that's autonomous, that's on track, still exists, and you're still that person. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. Like, would you say that you'd say that, like, your life's pretty positive for the most part? Like, at least your personal life is pretty positive right now, right?
It has. I think it's taken some deep reflection and like introspection, and really just like a new piece, coming to terms with like peace of mind of what my position is right now, and like how to navigate that, and like what relationships are, and just like really kind of deconstructing myself. And I think I've come to learn what the positive of it is, and how how to make lemonade kind of thing. And it's like doing stuff like this, I think is really important to continue my interests in a way that helps me elevate my relationships and create relationships with people, and introduce new ideas and ideologies. So that's been like my, I guess, like 90% reacting to the situation is kind of what do I need to do to like stay sane, but also just like really propel myself, and use this as like a very interesting epoch in the world, like in like society and this moment in time kind of thing. Like, I'd say it's been pretty positive.
See, like you've opened up like a super malleable version of yourself that's, moving with the current, not fighting it. And not only that, but kind of moving gracefully and positively with it right now. It's we all have to be really careful, and this kind of meeting we're doing right now is the greatest way to do this kind of thing. And I just really want to thank you for actually wanting to do it with me, because I feel like these ideas have value, and like the humbleness that you're in of acknowledging aspects of the self that need to be malleable or flexible, and applying it during these times is the best time to do it, because you know, when we're all around, when we're all able to be around each other again, we might as well kind of like start over from who we thought we were and what our patterns of behaviors were, and just kind of just be exactly more what we want or what we ultimately want to see in others and stuff, you know? Like so many people in my group that I look up to, like unbelievably, like Spooky in my group, Nick Logie, he just works so hard every day and gets so much done and has never complained about it. Just a renaissance man, you know, like, and I just, you know, I'm very different than that. So it's like, it's really inspiring to see that kind of behavior, you know, to try to become your ultimate self for the service of others, not for yourself. You know, because once you start doing that, it starts rippling, and then people start doing the same, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's infectious.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much exactly an hour, so that's a good ending.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yeah, 1:10. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think other than if you have anything else you'd like to impart to us or say about the album or what we can. So of course it comes out on June 5th, and are you going to be doing any live streaming shows, or what kind of? How can people kind of stay engaged with you?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing full band live streams on the Vinyl Williams Instagram and Twitch around the week of the release, June 5th, around then.
Okay.
And then I've already done 1 hour-long solo stream that unveils like 3 new songs that aren't even out yet, and that's on Twitch, on Plus Ultra LA. It's on their Twitch. So if I think that's a great stream. I think it was really funny and really fun. And I'll definitely be doing a lot more of that. And yeah, and I'm gonna be working on a video for Soft Soul too. The video for LA Egypt was done in real time because I have no time to make stuff for myself. You know, so I'm gonna be doing the same thing where I just do a real-time film recording of it and just do it in 4 minutes. It's done.
I mean, that's amazing. I would have never thought it was just like that. So
yeah, because I took a reel of all this video art I've made over the past 2 years, put it onto VHS, and then I had a friend shoot me on a camcorder, and then my friend Craig live video mixed the camcorder with the video art, and that was it.
I mean, that is efficient.
Yes, and I have to be because I spend all my day working for other artists right now. And I love it, you know. It's great. I'm working on a video for Foxy Light, this Canadian jangly sunshine pop band, just exactly what I want to be doing. But yeah, like the streams are definitely the thing to look forward to because they're going to be full band and it's going to sound fucking great. And I'm just excited to mix it myself, like mix it live, and it's just like an apex of what I've kind of always wanted to do anyway. So yeah. Cool.
Dope.
Yeah, but thanks so much, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, sharing your experience.